The Bible says to fear the Lord, but also that perfect love casts out fears. So are you because you fear him or because you love him? Wonderful question. That's so funny because it has a lot to do with what we just talked about. Okay. So for this question, I would say this. So in Proverbs 1, for instance, it talks about the fear of the Lord, right? So it says that fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So in what sense is this fear of the Lord? Because the way to render that, I guess, in English is if you're fearing God, if you're like afraid of God, you're scared of God, then that could be one sort of fear, right? Another fear could be like a reverence, an awe, perhaps. Take, for instance, let's say you saw the president or king of a country, right? And you're going to meet them. There's a sense of awe and respect you would feel towards that person, which isn't necessarily like I'm afraid of so and so. Like maybe you'd be afraid of like a murderous dictator or something like that. But in terms of a fear of the Lord, I would say the way to describe the fear of the Lord is like an awe and a wonder and a reality of how God is as He is. So, in other words, when people see God, many times take even Revelation with the book of John. John says he falls down like he's dead. So there's a sense of like, oh my gosh, like this is how magnificent, awesome, wonderful, powerful God is. He just like faints basically, right? So so it goes to the next part of the question. So are you supposed to obey God because you fear him or because you love him? So I would say when it comes to obeying God because you fear him, I would say like, yeah, being motivated by fear is bad. um, but if I'm motivated by a fear that is more out of like reverence and awe, then that's I would say that's more in tune with being in love with God, right? So if I'm just motivated because I'm afraid of hell, or if I'm motivated because I'm afraid of the the judgment seat of Christ one day when my works are going to be evaluated, then yeah, I would say that's a ineffective and not very helpful way of living your life if you're just trying to live out of that sense of you don't want to be punished or something like that, right? And I would say it's very short lived. But if you're motivated because you love him, I would say that's an overwhelming, infinite source of energy that you can draw from in order to obey God, right? Because Jesus talks about that idea that if you love God, then you'll obey the commandments. So that's I think the way to look at that.
Keep it dank. Not a request.